Hi, it's Louise at Spiral Bright Insight. I am here to talk about a specific aspect that is active in the chart as of today, Tuesday, the 21st of January, 2025. And I don't always come on to talk about individual aspects, but this one in particular deserves a mention. Now, this is the conjunction or the meeting of the Sun and Pluto, excuse me, at 1 degrees of Aquarius. Now, the Sun has an annual orbit or transit, so Sun will meet Pluto once a year. But the reason that this is particularly significant this year is because it is the first time in any of our lifetimes that these two have met in Aquarius. So this is 1 degree of Aquarius, and I checked back using my software. The last time that Pluto and the Sun met in the sign of Aquarius was in 1797, and we need to go back to 1777 to find the point at which they met at 1 degree of Aquarius. So this is a really big deal, particularly as building up to the new moon in Aquarius, which is going to be at 9 degrees of this sign on the 29th of January. So what does it mean? Pluto is the planet. It's the outermost planet. It is therefore one of the most powerful planets. It works with power and control and transformation. It brings through and highlights themes of destruction and creation within our chart and within our blueprints. And it is basically designed to dig down, to excavate and to expose anything that is holding us back from our highest potential and our biggest soul growth and evolution. So if there are sort of parts of your life or parts in the world, sort of themes in the world that are sort of holding us or you back, then it is Pluto's job to expose that. Now, Pluto is obviously not for the faint of heart. Pluto requires that we face our shadow. So this is very much about shadow work. Pluto will also highlight your unconscious or our unconscious fears. So this is not easy. People don't generally like to look at their shadow and sort of see what is hidden. It's much easier to turn a blind eye, but Pluto is not really happy with that approach. So when the Sun meets this planet in the chart, the Sun is the brightest light, the strongest light in astrology. And whenever the Sun meets a planet or an angle or a point or a fixed star, it basically illuminates. It shines a really bright spotlight on that planet and the energy and its role, so that there is nowhere to hide. Essentially, you're going to see what you have to see at the time. There's no sort of way to avoid it. So huge sort of empowering. So the Sun empowering the planet of power and control and transformation. This is a big deal. Now, Aquarius, as we know, we've been talking about Pluto and Aquarius for some time, is the sign of freedom. This is about revolution, revolt, rebellion. Very much sort of taking a stand against convention, against the status quo, in order to sort of support humanity, support the people. This is the sign of we, the people. So when we have things taking place in Aquarius, it generally affects the collective. This is the sign of the humanitarian and of humanity as a whole. Very quantum, ruled by Uranus. So whenever we have sort of Uranian energy taking part in any aspect of astrology, we have to be prepared to expect the unexpected, for things to happen very suddenly and very quickly. This can be very maverick, sort of shocking and chaotic energy as well. So Aquarius can be seen as the rebel for sure, very weird, very wacky, very wonderful, also quite fringe, not necessarily prepared to sort of stand up and go along with convention and go along with societal expectations. But it is because Aquarius can see the future and can see what is really coming together for the greater good. And therefore, Aquarius knows that by staying with what we've always done and sort of towing the line and kind of carrying on, with the status quo, we cannot experience change and we cannot get the shift that we need in order to move us forward. So Aquarius knows that. Pluto is very much working with this energy, and the sun is here now too, and obviously building up to this new moon. So we can expect some world changes to be taking place, and it's quite easy to see how that might be playing out. But we can also expect very sudden and unexpected shifts and breakthroughs. And Aquarius is also very much linked to awakening. So I am seeing this very much as the sun is shining a light on what Pluto is doing in terms of uncovering the shadow of humanity, of the collective, sort of asking us to face our deepest fears, to sort of sit with the shadow. And that is potentially going to trigger quite a big or deep wave of awakening as a result. Now, as I'm a galactic astrologer, I always look at the galactic and fixed star energies as well. And Pluto in the early degrees of Aquarius is activating a fixed star named Altair in the Aquila constellation. Now, this isn't the first time I've talked about Altair, and Pluto is going to be working with the energy of Altair throughout 2025 and throughout 2026 because of its speed of transit and orbit. So we will have the sun meet with Pluto at 3 degrees in 2026, 3 degrees of Aquarius, and then in 2027 they'll meet again at 4 degrees. So this energy is going to be very much active for the next 2 years at least. Now, when we have Aquila and Altair, Aquila is the eagle constellation. So this really gives us strength, courage, boldness, the ability to fly high and to see things from a much higher and a much bigger perspective, to be able to survey the landscape and see what is going on. So obviously a very new perspective, and one that we may not have seen before, which is sort of aided by Pluto uncovering information, what has been hidden, and sort of revealing the shadow, the sun shining a light on that shadow. Altair really is very much a star of leadership, and allows us or supports us and helps us to really see obstacles and challenges as something that we can break through. Often we come up against something and it just sort of stops us dead in our tracks. But when we're working with Altair, there is a way round. It is just about seeing something from a different perspective and taking a different approach, which is, of course, very Aquarian. So, we are having this support to shift our perspective and to perhaps see things that were hidden and also things that were hiding in plain sight. That is very much sort of something that is coming through. Now, there is also a link to fighting for anything that is unjust. And in Aquarius, this is injustice for humanity, potentially. But Altair also has links to a more nefarious side. So the dark arts, to black magic, to spells and spell casting, to manipulation of words and ideas, to hypnotism, to holding us in a trance and false light. Now, I don't always look at the more negative aspects and expressions of a star, but it feels really relevant here because we are working with Pluto, which is about the shadow side. So I feel it needs to be brought to light. Now, again, you may already have ideas of what this could look like, but obviously Pluto is here to uncover and to expose in order that we can grow and move forward. So if there's anything that has been holding us back in terms of dark arts, magic, manipulation, hypnotism, etc., then Pluto is likely to be bringing that to the surface so that we can see it. Obviously, it is up to us how we deal with it and how we sort of move through it and move on. But this is about seeing what perhaps we weren't able to see before, or what was hiding in plain sight. And as the sun kind of comes along and casts this huge beam of light on what is being exposed, again, it is hard not to see it. Now, In the chart, we also have Pluto is being supported by the supergalactic center in a trine, supergalactic center in Libra. So this is really stretching our understanding way beyond perhaps what we have been able to even come up against or explore or consider before. There is a square to the Shapley attractor, and the Shapley attractor is the frequency of truth and integrity. So when we have, the Shapley attractor activated in a chart, particularly here through the square, there is real tension, there's real force. Action has to be taken, it's non-negotiable, and very catalytic in order to support our greatest growth. This is about dropping all masks, dropping all disguises, all veils, all illusions, anything that is not sort of standing in pure and honest core integrity is going to be exposed during this transit. And obviously Pluto is working with the Shapley again for the next 2 years, and possibly beyond, actually, because we do use a wider orb when we're working with the cosmic points. So this is about the naked truth being seen, being exposed. And we have been building, this is not a new theme, but it feels like today in particular is a really potent and powerful day for this energy to really take hold and to show up. So if you've got any angles, points, sort of any activity in the early degrees of Aquarius in your chart, you're going to be feeling this for sure. But this is a collective transit. This is a collective event. And, this is something that we are all going to be sort of aware of. It's almost like all eyes on what is going on the world stage at this time. So I will be back to talk about the new moon, which is in 9 degrees of Aquarius on the 29th of January. Beautiful chart, also bringing in some very similar themes in terms of sort of spells and dark arts and mind control. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. And just to remind you that I do have a mailing list. So and if you want to receive my latest creation, my latest free gift, which is a galactic astrology ebook, just a short introduction, nothing too heavy, but just to kind of give you sort of the ins and outs, wheres and wherefores of what galactic astrology is. I invite you to just click on the link, which I will share in my information box below, description box, and you can get a copy of that. So yeah, and by doing that, you will automatically be added to my mailing list to receive my updates, which tend to come on a monthly basis or slightly more often, depending on what I've got to share. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be back with a new moon video soon, and also one that I want to do about chart rulerships and the fixed stars, which is really exciting, really cool. So yes, I'm going to leave it there, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. And